A beautiful BELBIEN finish can only be obtained when the proper installation procedures are understood. In the following chapters, we present the correct steps to take for BELBIEN installation. Surface preparation is the most crucial part to ensure a successful BELBIEN installation. It's very important to prepare and conform the surface of the substrate so that it's smooth and non-porous. Any protruding objects from the substrate, such as heads of screws or staples, must be flattened to the substrate surface. When the substrate is jointed plasterboard, the jointed parts must have a smooth plane. Use either drywall tape or fiber-reinforced tape to cover the gaps. Fill up any remaining gaps and dents with drywall putty, and then sand. More than one application may be necessary. Then apply a primer sealer to the entire surface to make it completely non-porous. Spread rubber-backed sheet on the floor for on-site cutting of BELBIEN into desired sizes. Measure precisely the size of the substrate to be installed with BELBIEN, but add an extra 5 cm trim all around. Then cut the BELBIEN with a razor cutter blade. Peel off the release paper on the back of BELBIEN and fold it back for about 10 cm from the upper edge to create a set line. Align the BELBIEN and then apply pressure along the edge of the fold to set the strip. Align the BELBIEN properly so as not to make the center part of BELBIEN sag at the set line. Place the plastic squeegee at the bent part in the release paper, then move the squeegee from the center toward the edges. Gradually pull down the release paper while keeping slight downward pressure on the BELBIEN itself to create a bridge effect between the release paper and the point of contact where the adhesive is pressed to the substrate. Using this technique will help prevent trapping air. After installing BELBIEN with this procedure, then once again move the squeegee in the same motion, but with a little more pressure. Use the squeegee at a 45-degree angle with the point of contact in order to sufficiently push out any air trapped beneath the BELBIEN. When it becomes necessary to make a seam or joint with BELBIEN, choosing the right type of seaming technique and finding the right place to make the seam is important. The first method is a butt joint or double cut seaming method. Prepare 2 properly measured pieces of BELBIEN. Make a cut in the release paper edge of the first piece. 3 cm from the edge is ideal. Leave the release paper still on the edge. Overlay the other piece for about 3 cm from the edge. Make a cut vertically in the center of the overlapped BELBIEN. Be careful in this process not to cut through the bottom release paper and into the substrate. Remove the excess BELBIEN where the cut was made and finally remove the release paper. Gently press the adjoining edges of the BELBIEN and give it a little pressure with the fingertip, being sure to avoid overlay. Once the edges have been joined, use the squeegee to apply the finishing pressure while forcing the air up and then down from the middle of the seam. The second example is an overlap bonding technique. Install one piece of BELBIEN. Apply masking tape along the edge, as shown. Apply an auxiliary adhesive primer on the exposed 10 mm width of BELBIEN. Apply the other piece of BELBIEN. To judge which piece should come on top is important. Avoid showing the cut edge to minimize exposure of the joint. The third example of jointing or seaming method is a groove joint. In this example, silicate calcium board is used as a substrate. With a substrate like this, a multiple sealing using sealant and primer is recommended for proper surface preparation. Be sure not to leave any part of the groove unapplied with primer. Press BELBIEN into the groove to cover the bottom of the groove too. Trim BELBIEN at the corner part of the groove bottom. Repeat the same procedure for the groove bottom's other corner, but make a tiny overlay area so that the two pieces of BELBIEN do not reveal the joint. This is one example. Of course, there are other methods of creating groove joints with BELBIEN. Our next example involves installation on doors. Take off such hardware as door handles, latches, and so on. Wipe off dirt or oily stains using a non-oily solvent. Make the door's surface very smooth, as in the case of painting. If there are any indentations on the substrate surface, fill them in with polyester putty. After this surface preparation, apply a primer sealer to eliminate any porous areas. For the edge part and areas near hardware, apply the primer twice. Install BELBIEN according to the previously mentioned procedure. Overlaying on the door edges prevents opening at the BELBIEN edge. In case of air bubbles, gently push them together with the squeegee. Then make a small incision in the base of the bubble. Then press the trapped air out. After installing BELBIEN on door frames, affix the hardware and the door itself again in place. The procedures introduced here are commonly exercised for a general reference. When the condition of the substrates or job sites differ greatly from what is introduced here, please ask your dealer or CI Kase for a specific installation solution.